Does retatrutide cause muscle loss? Now, this is a big risk that we're going to talk about in this video. I'm going to show you how retatrutide or other GLP-1s can potentially cause muscle loss, but I'll also show you the flip side of how if you fix your metabolic system, create more insulin sensitivity, you can actually increase your muscle mass by using this. One of the clients that was using retatrutide, he lost only 11 pounds in the course of a year, but when he did his DEXA scan, he found that he lost 34 pounds of fat mass and he gained 33.6 pounds of lean tissue. So roughly same amount of fat that he lost was replaced by muscle. So I'm going to show you how you can get there. I'll also show you how you can lose nothing but muscle if you are sedentary. So unfortunately, there's no peptide, no hormone, no stem cell that can outperform a sedentary lifestyle. So I'm Regan Archibald, founder of Ageless Future, and we want to help you protect your heart, your brain, and your muscles so that you can live a very long life with robust health, and then show other people how it's done, because I believe health is more contagious than disease, and I make these videos to give some insights on what may actually help move the needle in your healthcare journey. So let's jump in. So can it cause muscle loss? Well, a lot of the weight loss drugs, like Ozempic, for example, when they analyzed patients who had lost over 50 pounds, what they discovered is that most of the weight lost in these individuals was muscle. And this became very concerning because it wasn't the intended outcome. And what they found, though, in many of these people that participated in the studies, they had sedentary lifestyles. Yes, they had a caloric deficit, which probably led to the weight loss, but they didn't apply the right lifestyle to their overall health. In other patients who had lost upwards of 60, 70, in some cases 100 pounds, they found that the shedding of lean muscle was based on the body's preservation mechanism. So muscle is very metabolically demanding. Men, about 40% of our overall body mass is from muscle. Women, it's about 35%. And if your body doesn't need it to move around all the mass, if you had a lot of adipose tissue or a lot of fat, your body naturally just lets go of the muscle because it's no longer needed. You want to think of your biological body as a system that has inputs and outputs. And if the input is, hey, I've got to move an extra 50 pounds to make it up the driveway, your body's going to maintain that muscle. But if that 50 pounds starts to go away, then you're going to have the equivalent loss of muscle. So that's what you're probably trying to avoid. You're like, well, does retatrutide do the same? Well, let's look at the studies, because in the studies, while retatrutide does not increase muscle mass directly, it does help with performance. And one of the things that it does better than tirzepatide or semaglutide is it selectively targets visceral fat and it triggers mitochondrial biogenesis. You get more energy and better performance. And if you're somebody who has low blood sugar, well, glucagon in there actually increases some of your blood sugar. So it can cause a little bit of hyperglycemia for those of you who have hypoglycemia. But with the GLP-1, it does seem to stabilize it. So, and it's more of an adaptogen where your blood sugar is just going to be even. It's not going to bring it too low or too high, unless you're like not eating. And then it's like, if you're following the principles of nutrition and respecting your body and putting the right things into it, you can actually preserve your lean muscle better than you could with the earlier versions of the GLP-1s. Now, retatrutide is not yet on the market. Eli Lilly has been promoting it. They are working with the FDA. They have a couple new findings with retatrutide, but it should come out in 26 as an approved drug. But one of the things that they're looking at getting it approved for is for like osteoarthritis and inflammation in the joints, which is phenomenal because that's one of the things that we learned with GLP-1s. They do actually lower some of those inflammatory cytokines in the body. They found particularly people with osteoarthritis in their knees had lower expression of osteoarthritic markers. The proteases seem to be reduced when they're on a GLP-1, and it wasn't just the weight loss. I mean, that's the fascinating thing about GLP-1s. One thing I love about them is they've done another study where people lost 20 pounds through diet and exercise. The other group lost 20 pounds with the GLP-1. I believe it was tirzepatide, so it was a GLP-1 and a GIP. And the group that lost the 20 pounds while being on this peptide, they actually had better cardiovascular functions, better muscle mass, they had better cognition, better kidney function. So generally they had more of a global healing response versus just the people that lost weight through diet and exercise alone. So Retatrutide is a beautiful molecule because it does help activate the properties in your body that make you healthy and turns on these dormant genes that we want expressed. You don't want glucagon expressed all the time, but it does pulse it in just the right way. You want GIP expressed, especially as we get older. Our metabolic system seems to malfunction. We just hold on to inflammation, we hold on to fat, but when you have the gastric inhibitory polypeptide, it stabilizes the blood sugar. And then with the GLP-1, you're getting neuroprotection, so it does seem to benefit cognition and memory. You're getting protection for your kidneys. We've seen a lowering of blood pressure, decrease in heart disease with GLP-1s. You're also, for those of you who have tendencies for alcoholism or addiction, what the GLP-1s do is they seem to mute some of that noise and those cravings. And this is really exciting because we're seeing now that many of the newer versions, like Retatrutide, even one of the clinical trials is for alcoholism. And there's a new quadruple agonist called NA931. And they're finding that this one, I think they'll bring it to market next year as well, but it's Retatrutide, so it's a GLP-1, GIP, glucagon, and IGF-1. So they put the growth hormone in there, and it does seem to help improve patients who struggle with alcoholism. So once again, does Retatrutide preserve muscle? Well, it's probably the best GLP-1 if you're looking to preserve lean muscle mass. I think muscle is one of the organs that you want to bring with you into your future because muscle releases myokines. These are little peptides that inform your body how much brain power you need, how much cardiovascular health you need. Muscle is really important. It's also a glucose disposal system. So if you want to lose weight for good, the best way you do that is you create lots of healthy muscle, and then you have this really healthy metabolic system. And the fact that Retatrutide actually turns on this mitochondrial biogenesis, what we're finding is that now you've got better energy levels with it. And so it does seem to be disproportionately better as far as the preservation of lean muscle mass than like tirzepatide. But generally speaking, if you look at Retatrutide versus semaglutide, well, you're going to have a large drop in fat with Retatrutide with minimal loss of muscle, whereas you're going to have almost equal amounts of fat and muscle loss with tirzepatide and semaglutide. And sometimes it's disproportionately more muscle than fat with those peptides. And so one of the things that you want to do when you're looking to preserve your lean muscle, there's two ways you can trigger protein synthesis. Eat about 1 gram of protein per pound of lean muscle mass or per pound of ideal body weight if you want to really enhance your muscle. And then the second thing is make sure you're lifting weights, hypertrophy. That causes protein synthesis. And if you want to go deeper on this, the best thing you can do is go to agelessfuture.com, click on the link and do your free assessment with my team. They'll get your blood work ran. I'm Regan Archibald. Thanks for being here with me. I'll see you on the next show.